Okay, so I'm gonna go over the trades I took today and my thought process behind it. Um, yeah, so basically, um, I think I took some attempts on the ES and NQ, but they weren't like I was like they immediately showed me signs that they weren't working, so I just took them out at even. But anyway, actually, let me put up my executions. So as you can see here, I'm just gonna pull him up. Who cares? Uh, yeah, who the fuck cares? Anyway, as you can see here, um, I took some entries here on the NQ. They were all based on. I didn't believe too much on the strength that we're seeing right now. That was what I was looking for, but I was getting out very relatively quickly due to the volatility, um, and that the ES wasn't following through. So when I was executing the first trade, um, I like to execute in conjunction with the ES, right? If I see some strength on the ES and the NQ at the same time, I'm more willing to enter. So I took a couple attempts, but I was very hesitant due to my account being small and the tick value, and my stop had to be the lower day on any of these plays, and that was making me very uncomfortable because that would be a huge portion of my account, and I knew that one trade could just wipe me out before it could wig me out then go. So I wanted to break it down into more trades. But anyway, I took the entry. I was hella nervous. I wasn't executing properly. Then I actually switched to the MES. I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna go to the MES. I know I'm gonna be able to get a smaller dollar amount of risk on the MES, and let me see if it can show. I think I took one even. I didn't like how it was doing. Then I got out. The only trade that did work was um RTY. I'm gonna go over this one, which was the one that actually played out, and as you can see, it played out here. But anyway, I took this one because this had the better structure uh, intraday relative to the MNQ. Let me explain why. Right, if you actually look at the MNQ on the intraday before it had this big move to the upside, we sold off during Asia here, right? So we already had shown some weakness. So it was very hard for me to actually take long in a relatively weak market. If you compare it to the other indices like YM, ES, well, and the other ones, this was the weaker one. So sometimes I do take the lagger one, but in this case, it was way too weak for me to be confident on the long, even though it's playing out. It was pretty hard for me to be confident on it. If you look at it, we sold off during London, Asia. We just ranged, we're just bouncing right now. But anyway, it was the weakness that made me hesitant of staying in this trade, especially to the long side. Even though in the higher time frames we're pretty bullish if you look at it. Um, but anyway, if we look at the MES, this wasn't bad, but we had already previously attempted to break out here during London, and we did failed. We were ranging here, we failed, we failed. That's why I didn't stay. I was looking for longs on these markets. Um, Given my bias were longs, given that we were pretty bullish, we actually broke out pretty nicely, to be honest. But I don't know. I was just very hesitant. I don't know if we were gonna find the strength here, especially with this all with these are Iran, what are, I don't know how to say Iran things that were going on. So I was kind of hesitant if we were gonna continue to see this strength on this market, because I mean, if you actually look at it for the last 2-3 months, we have risen for the last 2 months or so. We have literally risen like 15%. So I mean, in my mind, I was kind of hesitant. But anyway, I was. Let me go back to where I was saying, like, relative to the so MNQ and the MES, um, relative to the RTY, they didn't have the structure as good as RTY. I just felt more confident taking this long here. And yeah, that was basically the trade. Um, I am quite disappointed. I'm going to also go over the trade that I'm quite disappointed on this um, MNQ trade. I did heavily overexpose my account, but I mean I couldn't. I mean I couldn't. I mean I could have sat on the sidelines, but at the same time that's my style of trading, right? Unfortunately, I mean my account has not been to take that big of a hit, right? But the idea was that okay, I was my stop was low a day, which at the time was here. And unfortunately, obviously, due to the volatility, even just one MNN cube, my stop was $200. Was $200 my stop, right? And obviously, on a small account, that's a huge hit, right? And I was nervous. I just couldn't manage because I knew that one basically bad trade would have blown me out. But anyway, I got stopped out on, if I'm not mistaken, I got stopped out on this candle for like $45. Then I re-entered heavily emotionally, and I think it went against me all the way. I went into drawdown on like 150, then it came back, got out at even and re-entered. Then I made 137. Imagine on this little move I made 137 on one MNQ. Imagine the risk though. And that's what was making me very uncomfortable. If you actually see, that's why I have like multiple executions. Unfortunately, I shouldn't even have had executed any of these unless I was willing to take that big of a hit, which I wasn't, as you can clearly see why I was just getting stopped out at even. I wasn't even letting my trade breathe because I knew that anything against me would have been a huge part of my account. But anyways, I don't know. I'm right now. To be honest, I'm at a point where I don't know if it's luck or if it's actual edge, and I'm hesitant to place more trades. To be honest, um, not because I mean, in the past, I mean I've been training for a while now. Like I've been training like for 5 6 years. In the past, I've been through this and like where you think okay I find too much, but like things come against you and you're like, oh shit, it's not really edge, right? I have found the edge, right? But the edge is unfortunately is not hasn't been big enough to actually like be profitable, right? Because I have found edge where I can cover my commissions, right? But the commissions and the spreads just come in and obviously take over the the small edge that I had, right? So, I mean, that's what nobody talks about. There's different kinds of edge, right? There's people that have more edge and there's people that have less edge, right? And obviously, in order for you to actually withdraw money from the markets, you need quite a big edge, like a substantial amount of edge in order for you to do it, because you have to overcome so many things like commissions, um, spreads, taxes. At the beginning, I was like, okay, I will never consider that, but over time, when you actually go through your data and realize what are the actual numbers of what are you doing, it's like, okay, like damn, those do come and affect the edge, whatever edge it is. So yeah, in order to navigate the market, you have to have like a substantial amount of edge in order for it to be a lucrative enough to withdraw money, right? Other than that, it's like you could have the regular kind of bets, like let's say if you're just trading like long term investing, like with the S&P is at a 10%, right? It's about the same, right? But if you actively trading the markets, obviously you're expecting to make more in a way because you're putting more effort, etc., etc. But anyway, yeah, I just wanted to go over the trades I took. Let's see how 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 I how I do. To be honest, I don't know. Um, if I don't upload in a few days, it's like cause probably I did bad, right? Cause I when I do bad, I'm like, damn. Uh, why would I put that out there, right? Cause it's tough to put like stuff like that out there and for people to see, and you're trying to go through the journey and like actually find out what you're doing, if what you're doing is correct. Sometimes you want to give up, and but anyway, yeah, uh, that's why sometimes I honestly don't post because I'm like, damn, I'm not. If I don't post, you just know that I'm probably not doing well, right? Because you're like, damn, I'm trying to figure this out. Plus having this out there, even though it's part of like being transparent and whatnot, but it's like, um, yeah. Anyway, that is all for today. Hopefully, I can come up with some answers and be like, okay, this is edge or not edge, right? All right. See you next time.